So if you are not started creating, trust me, this is something is going to help us in a long run, right? So that's why I'm more and more insisting on getting this exercise done. All right. I know I quite feel like a professor here, but I don't want to. But I think based on my interactions and based on my experiences, all right, I encourage you finally to get your working ready based on the case study. So you, frankly speaking, Arnar, to answer your question, we already have the exercise with us. Okay. And the exercise is what? A case study which I have shared with you. So what is the final outcome of this training session? At the outcome of a training session, we have to build a board application for this requirement. As simple as that. Okay. So for example, and that was the reason I shared it in the beginning only. So that you will have all the exposure to all the requirements, even if those are not covered in the training at a earlier stage, you should have that mental picture with you. Okay. So what is your exercise? The exercise is this case study. We have to solve this case study. Whether you solve it by end of this weekend or end of this training, it depends completely on individual. But uh, this is how we are going to go. And what is the flow of the case study? We discussed that in the since this week, since Monday, how we are going to uh, go through this entire case study. So what we discussed? We first discussed the entities, right? What are the entities? What is needed to define an entity, right? How to identify the entity, what should be the code width of the entity, what should be the description width of the entity, what should be the max item number. Now, if you recall, when we try to see answers when Agrim has created some list, you see there were some doubts which have came up while doing those activity, right? And you won't get doubts until you get your hands on the case study. Okay, so that's why that is important. So first part in the case study is to identify the exhaustive list of all the entities. What could be the code with description width based on the data or based on the case study given in the case study. Then try to arrange these relationships into the hierarchies. So hierarchy could be a straight hierarchy or a simple hierarchy like day, let's say month. And anyway, this is automatically created, so you don't need to worry, but still I am taking it for an example. Quarter, half year, and year. Forget about fiscal year as of now. I'm just taking this as an example. You need to create the real ones when you do the exercise. Similarly, you can take another one. Okay, this is a day, then we do product. Let's say product comes with product year, product comes with product category, and I guess supplier in our case. Okay. And so on and so forth. You can create additional like customer, city, country, etc. Okay. So in this way, you can create the hierarchies. All right. You will find the difference in the hierarchies as well, because there will be cases when you try to answer the question, you try to create some relationship between those hierarchy, and sometimes it will it can come up with a doubt and so on. So this is the second activity. The third activity is what are the cubes I am going to require. So we can write it as cube name. Let me just copy paste the format actually so that it will save the time. As I said, whatever you need to write here, it has to come from what? It has to come from the entities. So you can write all those entities in here. So what I usually do is I logically separate the hierarchies together. So this is my day, month, year. I would put. I don't need anything else. Then you can put customer city, customer country. I don't know, sales manager, branch, etc. So you can put it here and so on. And then you can identify what are the cube names going to be given for all the cubes you are going to create. So what are the cubes I need to create? How I to identify the cubes? We learned, right? So I am going to, the first cube I am going to need is the quantity. What should be the, okay, order, the most important one. So my order is by order ID and product. So, and you say, and any order should be always by day. So I need to do a join or a VLOOKUP from my order date as well. So as you see, the data is available in multiple tables. So you need to take the data from the multiple tables. So what I would do, quantity is a day, order ID, and product. What is the unit price? Unit price we discussed yesterday. Unit price is by order ID. You call it as 00 only because we will take the concept of sparsity at later point of time. My unit price will be by order ID and product. Then my discount. This is also is going to be a cube and this is a percentage. So let me see if I have a discount same by order ID. So I need to export it into Excel. Okay, how I will identify? I want to see is this discount per. Okay, uh, let me give you an example. What is this discount percentage? Let's say you walk into a retail store to buy grocery, and in that store you buy 10 products. Okay, there are two ways you can get a discount. Either each product is given a separate discount, correct? So let's say if you buy a detergent, it has let's say 10% discount. You bought some apples, it has let's say 15% of discount. This is one way to give the discount. Another way, what is the discount, how you get in the store? If you purchase above certain price, let's say if you purchase above 500, let's say INR, you would get 10% discount. In that case, the 10% discount is applied to all individual products, correct? We don't know the business, right, of this company. Either I can ask the business, the customer, that how they do the discounts, or I can look into the data. What I will look into, I will do the discounts and I will see if every order has the same discount. Okay. All right. As you see, each of this order has the same discount, isn't it? Oh, no, wait. No. You see, in this order, the customer has purchased 5 items. Out of them, discount has been applied to only 4 items. Similarly, in this example, discount is applied to only 1 item. Both that other 2 items has not applied any discount. In that case, what will be the dimension of the cube? Anybody wants to answer? The discount is given by order and the product. So what could be the dimension of the cube?
Order.
Correct. So because the discount is defined by order as well as the product. So it is not defined by only order or it is not defined by only product. So the dimension of the cube for discount percentage is order and product. Okay. So this is your exercise. So that is what you need to identify from the data or from the case study, that what could be the dimensions of the cube, and complete this file. Okay. Please download it individually and don't make the changes on the cloud files, because these are for everyone to check. Okay. So let me save this file and let me upload it. Any questions so far? Can everybody log into the location which I shared and confirm that they are able to access this file? Please log in, everyone. I have shared link to every one of you.
Yes, everything is fine. The file has opened.
Okay, so you can access the Excel file.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, now everyone you got the file as well. So whenever you want to go through the training and agenda, please try to work on this file. And as I said, it is the fundamental thing to complete in board, so that you can get the entire thought process clear. Okay. And as I said, this is something, and I've shown you, right? I use this on a daily basis when I start working with the customers. Okay. So on a regular basis, I would say, not a daily basis, of course, because this is something is important in the very big requirement gathering and design phase. Once you start designing the application board, it's easy to translate this into board processes or procedures or data address, etc. All right. So I expect you to work on this and get this file completed, download it yourself and get this. So this is something you can work on actually based on our training. Okay. Because this is the basic, and once this is uh, done, I think As I said, the drag and drop functionality is available in both. The report creation and reporting part is a very straightforward. You can try to create it yourself, go through the additional training which I had shared you through the training agenda, and it would be then again could be a self uh, study kind of a thing where you can proceed with the report creation as well. You necessarily don't need to wait for me to complete the next training as well, technically, because if you think you are comfortable with this, you can also start going ahead and you can ask me the questions at the right time when I am covering that topic. So I am also not stopping you from not doing the things in advance. All right. So don't get into that you have to do some things when I am only going to cover. You already have all the topics and all the training videos list with you. So please proceed with the case study as well and proceed with the additional next learning videos if you are already comfortable with all the topics. All right. Now, before going to now next, the important topic which I wanted to cover today is the data readers. All right. Sorry, let me. Today we are going to simply cover the data readers because there are multiple things which I want you to try out on the data readers, and I am only going to cover the data reader as a concept, and I'm only also going to cover how those are created and how those can be seen. But until unless you try out the things given in the data readers, you won't get comfortable with all those terminologies and all those modes which are defined in boards. Okay, so it is utmost important. Then I want your attention for next 1 hour and try this out yourself when you are doing the exercise. Okay, so as I said, what are the data readers? So data readers are the protocols which connects with your external data source and load the data in board. Okay. What could be the external data source? It could be anything. It could be traditional ERP systems, your Oracle SQL database, relational databases. It can be a text file or CSV file, and you can load the data from then and there. Okay. To do this activity, I had already shared you a sample data. So this Microsoft Access uh, is a database, is a Microsoft database. So you can connect with this database and access the data from there. All right. You might need to cover uh, to create the connectivity between the database. I would recommend to go through the e-learning videos. All right. There they have shown how you can connect to the database. If not, in the okay, sorry, this is an image. Oh, shit. Okay. I will just give me a minute. Let me then share this PDF document with you. Okay, where is this file? It's called as ODBC. Okay, perfect. I am sharing this file. Chrome. Upload files. File location. ODBC. Okay, how you can create a connection with the source database is also given over here. So you can access to this PDF and you can find it. All right. Okay. The only thing you need to make sure is for our case earlier. So when this document is created, the access file which I had shared had a different name, which was Northwind ABHI. Currently, the name of the file which I have shared to you is NW. Okay. So rather than this whole name, you have to just select the current database. So don't go name by name. All right. Just respectively get yourself and get your files connected and create the ODBC connection. Okay. Once the connection is ready, you are then going to get established. Once the connection is established, you are going to import the data through that connections. All right. As I was explaining to you yesterday, there are two types of data readers which we vaguely divide. One is the transaction data reader, and another one is the master data reader. Transaction data reader contains the measurable company data, which means quantifiable data, which is your aggregable data. It could be a actual sales quantity, it could be a discount percentage, unit price, or average sales, or number of customers, and so on. Okay. Generally, this is the transactional data at different granularity. Master data consists of the entity information and all the relationship information given in the data. Okay. We have seen the examples of what could a sales data looks like and how the master data looks like. So you see in the product master file, I don't have any column related to customer, correct? So the master data always consists of all the columns which has the similar belongs to a similar master. Okay. How to load a master data is again then is an activity we discussed yesterday. Let me go to the e-learning. Oh, sorry, my board data model. We learned yesterday how we can load the data. So we discussed about how we create a connection. So for creating a connection, I will quickly show you just for the sake of this recording of the video, rather than going through this PDF file. I am going to explain you the creation of the ODBC. Okay. How we can do is you need to type ODBC over here. Okay. Now board 12 onwards, there is no ODBC data source 32-bit. Everything has to be in a 64-bit. Okay. But if your laptop is not 64-bit, and if it is if your office is not 64-bit and it's a 32-bit, then we have to download, or then we have to install the ODBC in a passive mode. Okay. You can search it only when your office is 32-bit. How you can check your office is 32-bit or a 64-bit? Go to your Excel or any office application. Open that application, go to the file. You will go to info, not info, you go to the options. Just a second, where I find that one. Need to go to the file. Need to go to the info and click on show all properties. Oh, perfect. Sorry. You need to go into account because I'm using Office 365. You will find this screenshot over here. Okay. It is 64-bit. Okay. So this is how you can also find your version of your Office if it is a 32-bit or a 64-bit. If it is a 64-bit, then the next step has to be followed. Once this is done, what you need to do, I had already sent to some installers, right, to install the files, prerequisites on uh, the in an email. So you can directly click on that link, or you can write redistributables. You can write Microsoft 2010 redistributable x86. You click on that file. Sorry, Microsoft Access 2010 redistributable. Sorry, I need to access this file. You need to download. So this file is 32-bit. This file is 64-bit. Whatever you have to relative to your Excel, you have related to your Microsoft Office suite, you have to download that and you have to install that. Once you install that, go to the ODBC, search ODBC on the start menu, go to the 64-bit, go to System DSN and click on Add. Once you click on Add, it will give you the list of all the ODBC drivers. So I know about Arna's laptop because we had connected earlier to do the setup, and I have seen the ODBC drivers installed already in his laptop. So Arna, you will definitely see this Microsoft Access driver in your ODBC connections. Okay. So once you click on that, you just finish. Give the database name. I will type it as NW. I will select the database. My database is stored at desk. Where is my database? My database is stored at copy file path. Sorry, open file location. It is stored in the desktop. So what is the address for my desktop is? So it is user Aniket desktop. So I will go to C drive, users, Aniket, desktop, and I see the file over here. I select that file, I click OK. I click OK.
Excuse me, can you show again? Yeah.
So
Because
go to
I
the
must.
user DSN,
Yeah. I'm there.
click on add. You must see all the ODBC drivers for board, correct?
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
You need to select Microsoft Access driver.
Okay.
Click on finish.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Give it a name.
Okay.
Select the database. And click on OK. That's it. Just one
Okay.
thing which I forgot is I need keep on forgetting is I need to give the description as well. Okay, strangely it is not showing over here. Let me. It should show here. If not, then we need to go to the data readers. We can add a new connection. I will select that connection name and I will just save the changes and it should come automatically over here. Okay. So once you connect the ODBC, those connections, after your connection is done, when you click on the plus data source connections, it will start showing you over here. You need to click on that ODBC and just save the changes. And it will be automatically available for your analysis. So when you go to the data reader, you see there are 3 metro stations for the data reader. The first part is the source. You need to connect what is your data source, which we are already done. Then we need to the second part, which is mapping. We saw yesterday, right? All our entities, all the board members are shown on the left hand side and all the source data is shown on the right hand side. What we simply need to do is we just simply need to drag the correct item from the right hand side and map it over here by pulling the data on the from the left hand side. So how I map a country? I map country from here. Sorry. Country from here to the country code and a country from here to the country description. Because the names are different, I will just type it as a alias as country description. You can click on browse to see the data, how it looks. You can either, if you want to do some custom, create some manual query, you can create that. There you can type, the different queries and update the query as per your requirement, and query can be updated over here. Okay. I can type any complex query over here. Okay. Once that is done, I click on OK and I can run the data reader. Now this is something is evident from the interface itself. What is more important over here is how you are going after doing all this mapping. All right, how you are going to load the data. What are these modes of the data? Okay, so we see before coming to the data reader, we see there are 3 building blocks in our data model. We have cubes, entities and relationships, isn't it? Okay, so all these data, the cubes data, sorry, the entities data, the relationships data and the cubes can be loaded through the data reader protocol. Okay, we learned about how we load the entity. You remember yesterday we discussed how we load the customer entity. I click on edit, I did the connection, I go to the mapping, I drag the customer from here and I drag the customer ID and company name from here, right? So this is how you can read different kind of entity rather than inputting the members in each entity. Okay. Now, let's say I read all the entities separately. Okay. Let's say I read the customer separately, I read the country separately, and I read the city separately. How I can map the which country belongs, which customers belong to which city, and which city belongs to which country? How I can do that? Correct. So even after reading entire data in the relationship, I still need to know which customers belong to which city, right? So this is where now we are going to start. This is where we left yesterday. So you don't expect anyone to do this mapping one by one. You don't expect anyone to do this mapping to load uh, the cities and countries information in board. Okay, how you can do that? Simply, we need to understand the data reader protocol. So what data reader protocols can be defined? When you are going to load the master data, it is always recommended to load the data in the same data reader. Okay. So consider here I have a master data with product, product group and product division. Okay. Or here I have a customer master data where I have customer code description, customer town means customer city description, customer I don't know region description and sales employee description. So customer town and state information is given here, over here. Customer and sales employee information is given over here. So what I could potentially do is whenever I read a data reader protocol, okay, whenever I read a data reader protocol, I create a data reader with all these four entities in that protocol. Okay, and that protocol needs to be, and this is important, make a star mark. The data reader protocol needs to be run from a bottom up point of view. Okay, so in this example, in the example of our NW, what I am showing to you, my customer is at the bottom. So my data reader should start with the customer. Then it should start with the second entity, which is city, because customer city is a parent of a customer. Then it starts with the customer country. Okay. Now, once you arrange those items, MDB items in a serial order from a child to the parent, you can then go to the tables, okay, and drag and drop the respective tables from the right hand side or from the RDB. Okay. If they have the same column names, always give the aliases. Okay. Click here. Okay. Now I am going to show you one thing. I will go to the entities. I analyze, it shows me that okay, city customer to city mapping is not present, customer to country mapping is not present. What I am going to do is, because my data reader consists all those three entities, customer, city and country, I will run this data reader. Now I go to the relationships, I click on analyze, all those errors have gone. Why? Now my each customer is mapped to each different city wherever it belongs. Each city is mapped to the different country, and every country has certain number of customers, and every country has certain number of cities. Okay, this is how I analyze the data as well once it is loaded in board. Okay, but how this mapping is done? Okay, is it clear this till this point how we can create a data reader for the master or for the hierarchy or for the relationship? It has to be created from a bottom up. So we create it from the bottom first and then go and build it subsequently. Now country is at the top of city. So you cannot have something like this where you have customer as the first member, then you put country and then you put city. No, it doesn't work that. So it always has to follow the parent to child, child to parent path, bottom to top. Okay. Now how this data reader protocol works? All right. Let me explain it from the file. All right. Let me hide something which are not needed. Okay. How the data reader protocol works is also very interesting, and you should know about that. So data reader imports the data from the data source. So data source is always going to have the data in the form of rows and in the form of columns. Okay. So the data reader always will have the data in that format. What board does is, how the board protocol works is, let me take a screenshot of this. I will copy, go to Paint, Control V. How the board protocol works is, first of all, it pointed to the first row, and then it is pointed to the first column. Okay. So first it will check, okay, my customer ID is there, and within the same, my customer ID is there. Now the city has come twice. So actually, because we are keeping the city name and the country name same, Control C. So this is city underscore D. This is country underscore D. Okay. So let me take a screenshot now. Okay. So this is how your data reader protocol works. It starts with the first row and it starts with the first column. Okay. Now, any of the data reader protocols uh, works in two modes, technical two modes for the relationships or for the entities, and two modes for the cubes. Currently, we are understanding what are the modes in the entity. So this data reader works in certain mode. Okay. What are the different modes for the entity? Okay. Let me go. What are the different modes in the data readers? Okay. So as this presents, so data reader protocol can include three types of fields: either a entity fields with the entity codes, either the entity descriptions, or the cubes. Correct. Currently, we are focusing on these two only. So we are focusing on entity and codes and entity description. Okay. For each of the fields, what are the fields? This is the field. This is field 2, field 3, field 4, field 5, field 6. Okay. For each field type, the two access modes are given. Either it is called as discard new items or it is called as add new item. Okay. These two access modes are given, based on which we regulate what external data to be loaded in board and what external data has not to be loaded. Okay. We will see it with the examples. All right. So for the entity code, there are two modes. One is the discard new mode. What it does is, the incoming record are only loaded if the value is found in board. If the value is not found in board, that data is will be rejected. And the add new data, what it will do? It will add all the incoming records coming from the source system. Let me tell you how that works. Okay. Currently, what is happening? Let's take an example for a customer. Currently, what is happening? We are loading the data from the customer. All right. How many customers are present? 103. For example, so let's load this data in the discarded mode. Okay. Let's load this data in the discard new item mode. Okay. What happens is, just a second. Let me take this example from the Excel only. Okay. Let's consider the example when we are loading the customer. Okay. Let's say customer data is in discard new mode. Rule A, red or white. So what happens is this is your header. Okay, so header will be skipped. The data will always be in the first row after the header. The board protocol works row by row, and within each row it works column by column. Okay, so when reading the data, board sees, okay, this is my customer code. If you are reading the data in a discard new mode, board will see if this member is already present in my customer members. So it will go to the entities, and this is something a background working I am explaining to you. Okay, this is something. Okay, it will check. Okay, Fran1 is already present. Let's go to the next mode. What discard mode do is, if the data is already present, it will move to the next point, or it moves to the next column. So what happens is, in that way, your now column will be shifted to the next column. Okay. Then it says, okay, my company name is the description. This is the company description. Now, what is the mode for company description? It will be read. Okay. It will be read or replace. Okay. So what read protocol does is, it will check if board has already has the description available. If the description available, okay, if it is read, it will skip and move to the next point, which then goes to the customer, goes to the city. If it is in a replace mode, it will change as per the source data. So what happens is, you might see that today this data has how many customers? Okay, this data has 103 customers. Tomorrow, let's say, I add one more customer, like, let's say, call it as Aniket. Call it as Mumbai. Okay. You can't restrict, right? Your customer name will keep on coming from your master data. Now, if I read this data, okay, in a discard new item, let me read this, run this data reader protocol. Oh, sorry. We need to close. So now this is how you will learn when you start building your models. Okay. Whenever you are going to uh, run this data reader, you have to make sure that your file is closed. Okay. So I will save this file, and actually I need to copy this file. I need to copy this file under this head training. So let me create a data reader from a text file called as customer. Okay, this logic, what I am explaining you, applies everywhere, be it a SQL data reader or a relational data reader, be it a text file data reader or be it a recipe. The logic works for the same. logic works same for everything. Okay, so I will read the data reader in the ASCII. I will put the file as head training. I will give the file location. I will plug the data source. So the data source is plugged. Now I go to the mapping. What I am going to do? I am going to drag and drop the customers. Oh, sorry, I just forget to save the file as CSV. Okay. So ASCII data readers works on the CSV format, which are the text files. All right. So we need to save as this file as CSV. I'll copy this. I'll paste it at a current location. I'll go back to the source. Let me create a new one. Customers. Text file. Okay. It is customers to CSV. I see the sample output in the file. Then I go to the mapping. I will drag and drop the customers over here. Let's put the discard new item over here. Okay. Now, if I want to run this data reader, I need to select the file. Okay. And I run the data reader. Now you will see that I will see only valid records as 103 because this, come on, because those 103 customers are already present in my application and I have used the discard new item. All right. So the last record, you will see the customer, it won't show Aniket added in the entity members. You remember, right? I have added one column as one row as Aniket in my data reader. Okay. I see that this issue is still there. The valid record should show 103 and the discarded record should show 1. Actually, for that, you need to go to the database log, go to the bottom, and you will see only the validated records given over there and the file in which you are reading the data. Okay. So what happens when see what happens is customers keep on increasing in a particular company, or the products are keep on increasing in a particular company. Also, the name of the customer might change. Like Facebook has changed its name to Meta. So the name in the changes also happens in the company. So to add all the new customers, okay, or to add all the new members, we use the add new item, and to change the name of the customer or to change the updated name from the source, we use the replace mode for the description. Now when I run the data reader, I need to select a file because it's a ASCII data reader. Okay. And I run the data reader. Now when I go to the entities, it will show me 104. Earlier it was showing 103. I go to content. It will show me the last name has been added as a customer name. Okay. You realize I did by mistake. you realize that? Have you realized what mistake I have done here? Can anybody point out? The customer names have gone. The customer names is replaced by the customer ID. Can anybody identify what mistake I have done? Anyone? Yes.
You have mapped with customer ID, not customer name.
Correct. So you see, by mistake, I have added the description also by customer ID. So it has to be added by the customer name. You will see the sample over here. I will click OK. And now the next question, sorry, who had answered? Perp. Next question to you. Now, what I am going to do, I am going for this customer name, I am going to put read as the access mode. Okay. Now, if I run the data reader, what will happen? Will it change these descriptions with the existing descriptions in the file, or will it remain as it is? Have you got the question?
It will remain as it is.
Why? Because the access mode is read,
Read.
correct? So
Yeah.
if I now run the file, even if I run the file, the description will remain the same because it was read in the read mode. So it won't change the existing name. So to change the existing name, I need to read this data reader in the replace mode. So now I go to the data file, I go to the mapping, and I just change this mode to the replace mode. Click OK. Select the file. Click anywhere on the screen. After selecting a file, select the data reader again. Click run. Run. Now I go to the entities. Go to the customer content, and you will see the descriptions are changed now. And you will find Anik will have the Aniket as a description as well. Okay. So this is what I read, one entity. Okay. Similarly, the relationships are also made or read in the same data reader. Okay. So from the file, it shows that customer Fran1 is mapped to the city Firenze, and the city Firenze is mapped to the country Italy. So when you read the data by column, board will assign that parent to that member of the child. So Fran1 will belong to the city Firenze and will belong to the country Italy. ALFKI Alfred's Futterkist belongs to city Berlin, belongs to country Germany, and so on. Okay. So the file itself represents where that member belongs. So Vorsian Harku belongs to Ulu and Finland country. Similarly, where this, can anybody tell me where this Bonap, which is Bon Ape, belongs to which city? Marseille. And belongs to which country? France. Let me take a simpler name. I'm sorry for my French or Italian, but let's take an example of Anik. Can anybody tell me in my relationship, in my hierarchy, Anik customer belongs to which city? Or
Mumbai.
correct. And Mumbai belongs to which country?
India.
India.
Correct. Similarly, Bern belongs to Switzerland, Seattle belongs to USA. Okay. So your file defines your relationship.
What about the control? I mean, the city in another country.
Sorry, city in what?
For example, Aniket, yes, Mumbai, but not India, Italy, for example. it was like mistake in the file.
Correct. Okay. So the mistake in the file happens two ways. All right. What they can say is, okay, Anik belongs to Mumbai and
Mhm.
it belongs to India, but you might find a similar record which says Anik belongs to Milan and Milan belongs to Italy.
Italy, yeah.
Okay. So in that case, in this case, whatever is the latest record, that means whatever the later record, that will be automatically assigned to that particular customer. Okay. Let's
Because
consider the
it's last one, yes.
correctly. Why? Because it reads the data by column row by row, and within the row it reads the data by column. Okay.
Okay, it's a fresh. I mean, the new position, yes. About
Yes.
time, yes. Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
So what I want you to do is, okay, and it's an exercise for you as all to identify different cases and try to map and create all these different scenarios. Okay. Let me ask you one question. What happens if Aniket belongs for the third time and this time Milan by mistake it has been typed as India? What happens?
The system will add, and it will be work the previous position.
When I no, because Anik was already added in the system and the data is loaded in a add a new item mode. What it is going to do is, let me filter on Milan. Okay, there is only one Milan. Let me filter on, let's say Berlin. Let's say Aniket belongs to Berlin, and by mistake, while doing the copy, Berlin it has been put in India for that matter. So what board, and I know this doesn't happen, but for the sake of a case, I am showing you this example. It generally doesn't happen in any application. So what happens is, because Anik is my last record, Anik will be mapped to Berlin. But in this record for city, Berlin is mapped to India. Okay. So what happens is, as a city, Berlin will be automatically mapped to India. And your data will go for a toss because Berlin should not be mapped to India, it should have been mapped to Germany. Okay. So obviously system doesn't recognize if you have done a mistake in the data. All right. So system works in a row by row and column by column manner. So that's why a primary or a unique identification key is important when you are trying to load the data. Okay. Now, for the last 15 minutes, I need to cover this one topic which is important again, but I am keeping it for you all also to get your different combinations of data readers. Go through the e-learning videos as well. You will get understanding on this particular topic. In case you have doubt, we can correct on Monday and we can again, I will revise and take you through this topic and so on. Okay. But this topic becomes important. All right. As it's a very important concept in board where we load the data from the external system. Okay. So so add new item or discard new item is something is what we have to, I won't say just know, you have to master it. Okay. So whenever you see the data, you immediately know where to use append, where to use add new item, discard new items, where to use a blank mode, where to use a read mode, replace mode, and so on. Okay. You should be able to know all of these whenever whenever you are going to read the data. Okay. Now, in this data reader, one of the last topics is the data reading for the cube. Okay. As I told you, or as we learned, cube stores the numerical data, correct? We learned in our example. So let's take an example of let's say uh, sales quantity. Okay. So what I will do is, let's say let's create a file called as sales quantity. We note the sales quantity by date, by product, and by customer, and sales QTY. Right? Let's say the date is 01/01/2003. Product is P1. Customer, I would just copy from my customers table. Let's say AFK2 and Anik are the two customers. All right. Sales quantity is 100. Sales quantity is 200. Okay. And the date is suppose the same. And let's say I have bought product P2. All right. Save as in description. Okay. Now I want to read this data into a cube. For that, what I need to do is I first of all need to copy this file and place it into my Z drive, my server where my board is connected. Then I need to create a queue where I will reuse the entity as product. Okay, so the product is here. Now I will go to the cube. I will create a cube called as sales quantity ACT. So you see, when I create a cube, I directly go to my file, I copy the cube's name and paste it over here. You see, it's really easy for us. Once you define those file, you just need to copy paste the things. I just go here, I copy the day as day, customer, sorry, day, customer, and product. Save changes, and the cube is created. Now I go to the data reader. I'll click on this first file. I will say ACT, actual sales quantity, ASCII data reader. Now this time, which file I have to connect to? Z drive, training. Sales quantity. Okay. I see the sample file over here, isn't it? I go to the mapping. I select drag and drop the cube. You see that the moment I drag and drop the cube, the entities which are the dimension of that cube are automatically selected. Then what I need to do is I just need to drag to map the respective fields to the respective column. So customer is mapped to customer, product is mapped to product, and sales quantity is mapped to sales quantity. Okay. Now, as you see, there are two modes for customers. Because I am using the same customers, I don't need to add a new item. So I will put it in the discard new item. My product tree is not loaded, so I will just call it as a add new item. And you see that for a day entity, there is no access mode. Okay. Why? Because day or the time entity, this applicable for any of the entity. Even for a month, you won't see a discard mode, etc. Sorry, for a month as a code. You won't see it as a mode because the time entity is managed by board itself, right? So you don't need to add or discard any item in the day or the month or any of the time entity. Okay, I click on OK and I select the file and I run it. It shows me something is read, something has already been read. So let me see the data for this. Okay, so I will go to the training. So I need to go. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
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 I don't know if I'm facing an issue with the network. Oh, I'm not sure why it is not being loaded.
Sorry, Aniket.
Yes, Monish?
Mukesh was asking, are we having that 3:30 call?
Yes, we are. I will
Okay.
join in 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I will go to the. Let me go to another folder. Okay. I think I'm facing some network issue and I also need to join another call in 5 minutes. What I want you to complete is open the training agenda. All right. I assume now you have completed the videos. Now you have to start building the exercise from the second slide where you create the file. Now your work on board starts, okay? Where you first create the file in Excel, or I assume because it has been told 2-3 days back to create this file. So I assume you create the file, which I recommend you, if you are not, I recommend to create this file, okay? And then try working on this exercise, all right? You need to create a new database with the correct timelines. You need to create the entities or the data models or the relationships or the cubes as I explained in this data in this slide. You need to complete the videos on how you are going to read the data readers, how the ETL functionality works, and how the SQL data connections are done. And these are some additional reports which you need to complete because after the data is loaded, you need to see how the data looks, right? And you can only see that data when you know how you can create a basic report in board. Okay, so you need to create a data capsule which you map to a training, which you map to a data model. Okay, and you can simply then drag and drop the table object, configure it. You see, I am doing it very fast, I know, because you are going to do that similarly once you get your hands-on practice. Okay, I can save that, and you see the data is shown me here as 300. Okay, what is this 300? 300 is the data which I have been saved here. Okay, let's say by mistake I have run the data reader again. What should be the total now if I read the data again? Can anybody try to guess?
Double 600.
Correct. And why?
Override.
And why the not override? Override means clearing the data.
Sorry,
The
override.
double has happened because We are
Overriding.
reading the data in which mode? Because we are reading the data in the add mode, the
Add
data is
mode,
getting doubled. When you want to overwrite the data, you need to replace the time slice. We will learn anyway in the training. The moment you complete this data reader training, you are going to learn how that is going to be worked. Okay. Now, if I refresh the data reader, you will see that the data has been doubled. It will get tripled if I run this one more time. All right. So go through this e-learning model and then go through this exercise which is on slide 6. Okay. So when we are meeting on Monday, I expect all the videos till slide 6 are completed and the exercises in the slide 4 and slide 6 is also completed on board apart from what we have done on Excel. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
If you have already kept record of these files, you just need to do these things on board. As I said, if you have already completed the Excel file, 90% or 80% of your work is already done. Okay. All right. Complete this training, and from Monday we are going to learn on how we can create the reports in board. All right. And I will again revisit this data reader as well. So don't worry. But I genuinely want you to practice on different case study based on the case study on the data in the case study. I want you to try your hands on different types of examples on the data readers and on the modes of the data readers. All right. In case of any doubts, just drop me a note. I can check my email and I can just simply guide you if you are stuck anywhere. All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And don't forget, please, to upload the training
So you
as
have
soon as
already got the
possible.
shared video. Yeah, it will be a one place now where I am going to load everything. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you all for your time. Have a nice.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you.